Welcome to Later is Greater, Women Over 60 Embracing Life. I'm your host, Stella. I'm so glad you chose to be here today because we are continuing the conversation around the important subject of self-awareness and more specifically, letting go of our past, reevaluating our past. There is nothing more beautiful in our lives than being true to ourselves, being who we were meant to be, and the older we get, the more precious that life becomes to us. So let's begin. It's wise to examine our past and realize how it's affecting ourselves today. And it's entirely possible that some of the things you believe about yourself are probably not even true at all. Everyone carries a past with negative experiences, and whether it's your fault or not, what is important is how these experiences have shaped us. It's normal to romance our past. Living in the past validates our traumas and betrayals that we've had in life, not to mention that it makes a great excuse for why we are not changing. But we only go back to our past to reminisce and talk about it and feel those old emotions when our life is not working. Often, our life isn't working because we are living in the emotions of our past and we carry it around with us. So how do we get off this crazy cycle? Well, by the end of this podcast, you will have 3 powerful steps to break free from your past and create a joyful future. It's easy to see how negative and erroneous beliefs can develop from negative experiences. These beliefs can be extremely limiting and influence every part of our life. Personally, I know I was living in a cage of negative emotions that I had created for myself. I thought I couldn't change. But the past should be useful to us. There are several signs that you are not using your past constructively. 1. You continue making the same mistakes. Again, the past should be useful. From the past, we learn what works and what doesn't. And this is something important that we need to reevaluate on a regular basis. Because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want. It's a perfect time to pivot. 2, you ignore your past. This is easy to do, and it can have negative consequences. We set it aside so we don't have to deal with it. But time does not heal all wounds. Healing heals all wounds. And if there is something in your past that you want to forget, it's probably still hurting you in the present. I know that feeling. I did it for years. Nostalgia kept me from breaking out of the crazy cycle. I realized that holding on to hurt feelings over past betrayals only kept me feeling stuck. Once I identified those feelings, I chose a new way to respond by focusing on gratitude for the lessons I've learned. This is easier said than done, but it does work. 3, you've adopted negative thoughts, behaviors, speech patterns, and emotions from your past, and they are your everyday behavior today. This is something very important. You need to observe your past feelings and not absorb them. How are you going to do that? Start by writing these negative thoughts, behaviors, and self-talk in a journal. Again, we're not dwelling on your past, we are just observing it. And review these every day to the point where they are so familiar to you that you actually catch yourself from doing them because you've identified them. Now you are leaving the known past and stepping into a new way of thinking. Once you have identified these, the next step is write down the new thoughts that you do want to experience and take some time every single day to look at these with all of your intention and emotion and focus to consciously think about what you do want. Eventually, this becomes a new pattern, a new habit, a new way of thinking. Each day, rehearse these new behaviors that you are going to demonstrate in your new life. You can do that by closing your eyes, being in a relaxed state, and begin to play out in your mind how your day is going to go. And this is how you placed yourself into a future instead of living in your past. It's like when you role play for a job interview that you really want to get. This is the same mental exercise. Every day, imagine emotionally what your future is going to feel like. And don't give up doing this until you actually feel like that person. If you keep doing this, this will reframe the way you look at your everyday. The bottom line is, do the inner work every day and do it with passion. Feel the joy of how that life will feel like. Don't let your thoughts about that person, place, or thing in your past hold you prisoner. Make it about your future. See how you will be living and live in that new future. If you do this long enough, you will be living your new life as if your future self is already in the present moment. Remember, your past does not define you. It's a stepping stone to your best life. Thanks so much for being here today. If you enjoyed this episode, I hope you will save it and come back to it whenever you need it again. As a thank you for your time, I've included a worksheet for you in the description box. It's free. I'm so happy that you chose to come here today. It means a lot to me to encourage women of my generation to step into their power and live a fulfilled life. I'll be waiting for you in the next episode when we'll be discussing self-esteem. Until then, have an empowered week.